Assalamu alaikum everyone at home, and thank you for joining us. I'm Yusuf.
And I'm Amira Badawi. Welcome to CABTV Ramadan Special.
We're 16 days in the month now, so we hope it's going well for you. If you've been fasting this much so far, pat yourself on the back. A big well done to you. When we read Quran, we usually start with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. But did you know this is actually the first verse of the first chapter of the Quran in Surah Al-Fatiha?
That's very well noticed. It means in the name of Allah, the all-beneficent and the all-merciful, Allah begins his speech with his own name.
Allah sent the Quran to guide us, and guidance begins with the name of Allah, the Almighty. We learned that the perfect way of starting and talking to the action is to start in the name of Allah.
And with that, it's time to begin the episode with our daily Quran recitation. Don't go far.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعاديات ضبحا فالموريات قدحا فالمغيرات صبحا فأثرن به نقعا فوسطن به جمعا إن الإنسان لربه لكنود وإنه على ذلك لشهيد وإنه لحب الخير لشديد أفلا يعلم إذا بعثر ما في القبور وحصل ما في الصدور إن ربهم بهم يومئذ لخبير صدق الله العلي العظيم.
رمضان شهر الخير والغفران رمضان شهر الخير والغفران رمضان شهر الخير والغفران شهر الله جانا جانا والبركات غطانا شهر الله جانا جانا والبركات غطانا رمضان شهر الخير والغفران يا رمضان يا رمضان.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum children. Inshallah you are all doing well. And I cannot believe that we only have around 3 more days left of these stories. It's gone by so fast. And then we'll be finishing the stories from the Holy Quran. So I hope you've all enjoyed them so far. Now, remember a couple of days ago, I told you the story of Prophet Musa and Fir'aun. Do you remember? Do you remember when I told you that story? I told you the story of when he threw his stick and it turned into a massive, massive snake. And Fir'aun thought that it was magic and he called his magicians over and he tried to tell his magicians to do the same. And they did, but then Musa threw his stick again and it turned into an even bigger snake and it ate all the other snakes up. Do you remember watching that? If you haven't watched that video, you can find that video online and watch it. Because today I will be telling you another story. So today I'm going to be telling you another story of Prophet Musa and Fir'aun, but it's going to be a different story. This time it's going to be the story about the sea that split in half for Prophet Musa and his people. Have you heard that story before? Okay, let me tell you the story now. You see, as I mentioned before, Prophet Musa and his people lived in Egypt. They were good people. But the king of Egypt, Pharaoh, was very cruel and mean to them. And he did not like Allah, and he did not believe in Allah. And he did not like the people who pray to Allah. He used to say, I am the Almighty. He believed that there was no person, no thing, and no God higher than him. He was very arrogant. Musa was a prophet of Allah. He loved Allah and Allah loved him too. Every time there was a problem, Prophet Musa asked Allah for help and Allah told him what to do. One day, Allah said to Prophet Musa, Prophet Musa, you and your people travel by night. You travel by night with my servants. Prophet Musa called his people and said, okay, pack your things and get ready. We are going away from Egypt. But nobody must know about it, okay? And nobody should see us. We should travel at night. So all the people, they left at night. There were many of them. And they all got their belongings. They all got their things. They all got ready. They brought their families. And they were ready to leave. And amongst them, there were also some women and children. You see, the women and children walked very slowly and got tired very quickly. And that is why their caravan did not move very fast. Okay, remember this was in the middle of the night that they left with Prophet Musa. By then, Pharaoh had heard that Musa and the people had left. And he got very, very, very angry. And he ordered a whole army to go and chase them. And he left with the army. In the morning, they reached the shore of the sea. They reached a big sea. It was then that Musa and the people saw some people following them. They were moving very fast. Who was it? Who can guess? Yes, it was the army and the soldiers. It was Pharaoh and his soldiers, and they had catched up to them. Everyone became so scared and they started to panic. Oh no, are they going to catch up to them? Because there was nowhere to go. They were trapped. There was a sea in front of them and they couldn't cross the sea. And behind them was Pharaoh and his army and the soldiers. They were behind them so they couldn't go back. It was impossible. There's a big sea in front of them. How are they going to cross it? Where could they go? And who could help them? And guess what? Allah came to help. And he said, Musa, strike the sea with your stick. And guess what happened? As soon as the stick of Musa touched the waves, a miracle happened. The waters split in half and it parted waves. The waves hung in the middle of the air and they did not fall. And the floor could be seen. It was a path. Allah had made a path for them to cross the sea. Musa and his people hurried between the waters, between the walls of the waters, and Pharaoh and his soldiers were right behind them. Pharaoh saw the sea opened and he commanded his soldiers to follow Musa and his people. He said, follow them. So as Musa and his people were crossing the split sea, so was Pharaoh and his soldiers. They were following them. But as soon as Musa and his people crossed the sea, guess what happened? The waves fell down on Pharaoh and his soldiers. And Pharaoh called out, there is no God but you. But it was too late by now. All of them had drowned in the sea. None of them were saved. Allah is the Almighty and powerful, not Pharaoh or any other individual. He helps those who love him and pray to him, and he saves those who trust him. You can find this story in Surah number 26, verses 52 to 68. That's Surah number 26, verses 52 to 68. I cannot believe that the sea had split open. The whole sea split in half, and it helped Prophet Musa to cross the sea. I wonder what they thought when they were crossing the sea and they could see the water above them. And I wonder how they felt when they saw Fir'aun and his soldiers following them and chasing them in the middle of the sea. But you see, this is a big miracle from the Holy Quran. Allah saved Musa, and he saved his pure servants, and he saved the people of Musa as well. And this teaches us that we shouldn't be arrogant. We shouldn't have so much pride and believe that we are the best and there's no one higher than us and no one better than us. And this also teaches us that we should believe in Allah. We should trust Him. And even sometimes when things seem impossible and we think, this is impossible, how is Allah going to help us? This is impossible, how is this going to happen? Always believe that Allah will help. Always believe that we have a Lord and a God who is greater than anything else, and He will always help us. I hope you enjoyed today's story, and as I said, there's about only three more days left until we finish these stories from the Holy Quran. So I really hope you have been enjoying them. If you haven't watched any of the previous episodes, you can catch up on YouTube. Okay, you can watch them all. So thank you so much for watching today, and inshallah I will be seeing you tomorrow with another story. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
رمضان يا رمضان رمضان يا رمضان رمضان يا رمضان رمضان يا رمضان
هلا رمضان هلا رمضان هلا رمضان هلا رمضان هلا رمضان.
The Muslims fast and so they can remember the poor people.
Ramadan is something that you have to pray and you have to be kind.
A festival for Muslims when they fast, which means you don't eat any food until night time, so you can feel the pain of the poor people.
Just like we train our bodies strong when we go to the gym, we need to train our soul to be stronger too. Fasting helps us to remember to be thankful to Allah for all the food that we have, and while others in other countries don't.
Fasting helps us remember the people who have less food than us.
We should pray, go to the mosque and read the Quran. Also learn patience. Experience how it's like for the poor people who are unable to eat for long hours. Not do bad stuff, not say bad stuff. Always say the truth, help your mom, help your dad. And not do bad stuff. Other than fasting in Ramadan, we must read Quran, read lots of du'as. We should remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Imam Ali, peace be upon him, says, "Speak only when your words are more beautiful than your silence," and his words are definitely more beautiful. Here's our next show. It's Nahjul Balagha.
My dearest child, have I ever told you about the time when there was a man who lived long before we did? The first man to accept the faith of the Prophet, Ali, son of Talib. He was a wise man who entrusted us with his words. We mustn't ever forget about these words. Now, my child, read this sermon out loud for me, will you, dear?
Okay, Grandma. The rain. The riser has risen, the sparkler has sparkled, the appearer has appeared, Allah has replaced some with another. We waited for these changes as the famine-stricken await the rain. Certainly, the Imams are the representatives of Allah over His creatures, and they make people know Allah. No one will enter paradise except He knows them and they know Him.
Oh, that was lovely. That was lovely to hear, my little one. Now let's close this book and keep it in a safe place before we go to sleep.
Where shall I put it?
Put it on that shelf, dear.
The one over here?
Yes, right over there, next to the red book.
Here?
Aha, that's the one.
We often think that people from 1,000 years ago were living in the Dark Ages. But in Muslim civilization from the 7th century onward, there were amazing advances and inventions that still influence our everyday lives. Oranges, lemons, and limes may not have become so popular in the Western world without the orchards in Muslim lands.
Treaty of Hudaybiyah, 628 AD. This was a peace treaty between the Prophet, peace be upon him, who was representing Medina, and the Quraysh tribe of Makkah, so that the two parties would not be at war with each other. After this event, Surah Al-Fath, the glory, was revealed.
Shall I give you a clue what the next show is going to be?
Go on then.
We recite this every day in the month of Ramadan. It's a dua.
Well, you made that pretty easy. Of course, it's Dua al-Iftitah.
Assalamu alaikum. How wonderful the world is. Mountains, rivers, forests, farmland, lakes and grassland, that all evidence Allah's bounty and grace. How blessed we are to be able to communicate with the magnificent Creator who brought everything into existence and has made it possible for us to survive and benefit from all of His bright and beautiful signs. He facilitated means whereby all of us may draw benefit from the light of guidance that He sent down with the Holy Messenger and his progeny, whom He appointed exemplars and role models for humankind. May Allah Almighty enable us to be included under the supervision of the owner of the time, Imam al-Mahdi, who is always with us, illuminating our way, even though we're not able to see him. Imam al-Mahdi shares his words in the inspiring Dua al-Iftitah that all believers read during the holy month of Ramadan. Let us listen to a part of this dua and find out what it means.
اللهم صل على محمد عبدك ورسولك وأمينك وصفيك وحبيبك وخيرتك من خلقك وحافظي سرك وبلغي رسالاتك أفضل وأحسن وأجمل وأكمل وأزكى وأنمى وأطيب وأطهر وأسنى وأكثر ما صليت وباركت وترحمت وتحننت وسلمت على أحد من عبادك وأنبيائك ورسلك وصفوتك وأهل الكرامة عليك من خلقك.
In this part of the dua, the words we hear say, Allah, please bless Muhammad, your servant, the messenger, the trustworthy chosen one, the one whom you love, the finest of all your creatures, to whom you entrusted your secrets and the duty to convey your entire message with the most perfect, honest and pure blessings, the most pleasant, unblemished and most magnificent blessings that you have never previously sent to any of your servants, messengers, chosen ones, or those of your creation that you have honored. These beautiful words move my heart as a humble servant of Allah and as an avid follower of Ahl Bayt. Praise be to Allah, under whose protection we all are, today and every day of our lives.
You can also recite this dua on the 16th day of the month.
O Allah, on this day, grant me to be with those who are good, keep me away from the evil, lead me by your mercy to the secure place, O the God of the worlds.
Unfortunately, we have reached the end of the show. It's been an absolute pleasure hosting. If you would like to provide us with some feedback on our shows, please email us CABTV@ahlulbayt.tv.
CABTV will be back at the same time tomorrow, so be sure to tune in then. But for now, thank you so much for watching, and it's bye from us. Assalamu alaikum.
أنا أحبك يا شهر الخير لأنك أحلى أيامي أحب أزور أحبابي وأخوالي وعمامي أنا أحبك يا شهر الخير لأنك أحلى أيامي أنا أحبك يا شهر الخير